Hey guys, it's Ashley and Yann here at Utah Trikes, and today we are riding two trikes that are crazy. We've got the Ice Full Fat, the monster truck of trikes, and we have the Azub Tie Fly, which has been the shop favorite for quite a while. Both totally fantastic, both quite different, both set up with roll-offs today. Hey, let's get out there and ride.
Yep.
Let's go. All right, here we go. We're on the road again. I really do feel like I'm pedaling a monster truck here. This Ice Full Fat is just massive. Not only is it big and tall, but it's wide.
Yeah, to handle those 26 by 4
Yeah,
inch wheel.
26 by 4 inch tires on this. Just feels huge. I kind of like it. I'm sitting up really tall.
Yeah, you're sitting taller than me right now.
Kind of feels like about the same height as some of those Delta trikes.
Yep.
Which is, one of the things that I really do like about the Delta trikes.
Comparing the frame, we're about the same height everywhere, but those tires have a higher sidewall because they're fat, so that definitely bring you higher than me with more clearance.
Right. Yeah, this thing's crazy. And so you've got the Azub Tie Fly X there, which is equipped with the 26-inch wheels all the way around.
Yep.
And it has full suspension front and rear.
Exactly. With the Fox suspension in the back, we got the titanium leaf in the front that I really like. Really comfortable, and same setup, one by with the roll-off.
Both of these are set up with the roll-off. The Ice Full Fat here, it's got the wider roll-off XL. There's really not any difference between the roll-off XL and the standard roll-off. They're both a 14-speed hub. On the Full Fat here with the single crank up front, I've got a bit smaller chain ring to kind of make up for these taller tires than what you've got. I would guess that the gear range on these is right about the same.
Yep. Yeah, definitely gear ratio to size tire. I think we're going to be about the same. We'll see when we're going to be climbing and going downhill.
Right. Now, I'm set up here with road tires, and I am blown away with how easy this is to pedal. For a big fat monster truck of a trike, it is surprisingly easy. At least on the flats. We're gonna find out in the hills.
In the hill, yeah. And of course, because we're on the road, I pump up your tire to the max pressure, which is 20 psi on those. But you can go all the way down to about 5 psi off-road if you needed something more knobby or more comfortable.
So talking about comfort, the Tie Fly X there, you've got signature titanium front suspension, and the Full Fat here has no front suspension.
Yep.
Ice, when they released the Full Fat, they did have a front suspension, the same front suspension they offer on the Sprint X Tour and the Adventure. There's really no reason why it won't fit on here, but they no longer offer it specifically because they found it induces a bit of steering wobble with these big fat wheels.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised. I mean, you got some pretty big fat wheel on that. You can lower the tire pressure, and I'm sure get the same type of comfort as if you had that front suspension.
Right.
That's my experience with fat tire. I tried both with suspension and without suspension, and I learned that I liked it better without the suspension. And I also cut on the weight a little bit.
Comfort-wise, these fat tires here are doing the job of suspension on this. So, and I gotta say, it's quite a smooth ride. The one thing that is kind of worrying me, as we're heading towards our hill here, is that I'm already in my top gear.
Okay.
So I think I'm gonna have plenty of gears to get up the hill. Going down the hill, I don't know if I'm gonna have enough gearing. I might end up having to coast down the hill.
The two things I'm thinking going down the hill is, yeah, you might run out of gear, but also you're sitting higher. So I wonder how the cornering is going to handle
Right.
compared to something lower.
Well, this trike is wide though.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
it is tremendously wide. Probably the only other trike that feels this wide to me is the Cat Trike Max.
Yep.
And that's different. That's like a wide seat, but it's not as much of a wide cockpit area.
Yeah, he's going.
Looks,
so let's go. No train coming.
Looks safe.
We beat the train this time.
Now, both of us this time, we've got the stock fat mountain bike pedals, right?
Yep.
So we're not clipped in, which I know neither of us really likes. So it's a kind of a different pedaling approach. I think I'm in gear 7 right now.
I'm on 4.
And, you know, I'm mashing it a little bit. You know, one thing with the roll-off, you do have to let off the pedals a little bit when you shift.
Yeah, to release the tension inside the hub.
Yeah.
Just make it easier to shift. A little bit like you will push your clutch pedal on a manual.
Right.
What gear are you in now?
So I am in 4th now.
So I'm on 4th too, and I can see that you're speeding way more than me. We're on the same gear.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little bit out of breath. You know, a bigger, heavier trike, bigger wheels. And I think I lost a little momentum when I shifted initially.
Yeah, because you had to release a little bit of pressure.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I mean, I really like the roll-off for that. I like those little technical aspect of the riding. And just shifting it at the right time is something I'm looking forward to all the time.
Yeah, you really have to kind of gauge when you want to shift on your pedal stroke. We've been offering the roll-off as an option on trikes and quads for about 20 years. Anybody that's looking for the most bulletproof gearing is gonna really like the roll-off.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no really anything that goes out of adjustment.
Yeah.
You just gotta do a little bit of maintenance, but it's not even that crazy. I think it's every 3,000 kilometers they recommend, or once
Yeah,
a
you're
year.
doing an oil change. I mean, the nice thing about the roll-off too is that the entire shift mechanism is actually in the hub. Even if your cables are loose or not properly aligned with the shifter, the shifting itself will always be lined up.
Yep.
So that's nice. We got a little taste of climbing with these machines.
I'm actually surprised you went that well on the climb.
Yeah, with just the roll-off, you know, and I mean, I guess that goes to show what kind of gear range you actually need.
Yeah.
Because it seems that neither one of us even needed our lowest gear.
Yeah, we whoop, with my finger a little too close to the tire. We had 4 more gears left.
Yeah.
On the low hand.
Yeah, it's almost like that gear 1 is a gear that you'd rarely use normally unless you're like really climbing something steep or
for a long
time,
towing
a trailer.
maybe.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see how well these handle going downhill.
Yep.
You know, I think that the biggest limitation speed-wise on both of these is going to be that they are both geared low. But let's see how well these go.
I have a little advantage on this front chainring.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
All right, well, I'm in my highest gear right now already. All right. I don't think I've ever ran out of gear so fast.
I saw you spinning way earlier, but I was spinning too.
Yeah. When I started the hill in my highest gear, I was spinning air by the time we got through the S curve there. It doesn't have enough gears for high speed.
Yep.
For as tall and big as this trike is, it handled very well.
In the corner.
But I really had to lean.
Yeah.
Like I was actually all the way over here over this wheel leaning. With that said, gearing is probably about right for about how fast you should go.
Well, then I came in the second turn, but a truck was coming up, so I had to get out of my line and go larger. I definitely felt like the trike, compared to most trike we tried before, were lower with the 20-inch front wheel, 26 back, was slowing down faster without touching the brake. Even at the end, I stopped pedaling and let it go and feel like it was slowing down itself, but probably because we're sitting way higher.
You got more air resistance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So obviously the wind is kind of stopping us.
Last week I rode the Ice Sprint X Tour, and we were comparing that with the Ice VTX. I hit those bumps down at the bottom of the hill as hard as I could. I'm surprised hitting it with these fat tires, how I still felt those bumps really hard. That ice suspension, what's on the Sprint X Tour, is definitely more effective than just having the fat tires.
Yeah, no, definitely. And remember, those are pumped up at the max too.
Yeah.
So it's not going, you're not going to have any suspension in that.
You know, they are pumped up to the max, but, you know, if we're climbing and riding normally like this, I don't think that I would necessarily want a softer tire. Yes, a softer tire would give me a softer ride.
Yep.
But would also make it harder to climb the hill.
Exactly.
Harder to go faster, and would probably slow me down.
I mean, the only reason I would go with a lower tire, really lower pressure, I mean, will be to be off-road.
Right, off-road.
That's about it. Gravel,
yeah,
mountain bike trail. Otherwise, I will keep the tire pressure high too. Yeah, you definitely sit way higher.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, no, now I see them there and I'm sitting there. This bottom bracket is a little bit lower.
Yeah, a little bit lower. Already just sitting here, I can feel the suspension.
Yep.
You know, which is nice.
Yeah, and something we didn't talk about, but the 2-seat too, they're both their high-end seat.
Yeah, they're both the high-end. That's the Ergo Lux.
Yep.
And that's the Azub Dream Seat.
And so the Dream Seat feels like already sitting. I really liked it, almost feel like a little bucket seat more.
Yeah.
This one is comfortable, but it's a little bit flatter. When this one here, when you sit, especially the bottom part, you really feel like you're in a bucket seat.
Yeah, and I feel that. And I'm actually, for me, I'm gonna actually recline.
A lower, okay.
Yeah, I really like having a reclined seat, and so you can see how easy this is though.
Yep.
This has these stoppers here to adjust those, loosen this clamp, and then here I can just slide my seat down.
Go.
That's how easy it is to change that. Yeah, that's a little nicer for me. I like having a more reclined seat.
I got tricked. I just realized because the roll-up on this one is sitting up, on this one is sitting down, and I start shifting the same way. I said, wait, why is it harder?
Yeah, so Azub does use the inverted shifter on this with the cables looped up and over. On the roll-off shifter specifically, I'm really liking that because now I can actually see what gears I have.
When here it's a little bit eaten by your hand.
Ice there, they're using a full-length shifter, but it's a little short.
It's a little short, but I already like it better, especially with gloves.
Yeah.
Because gloves are designed to really grip on it. And on this one, I really had to go get this little part of the shifter when here the whole grip is turning.
The Azub shifter, you know, it's just the standard thumb shifter. Now on the TiFi here, as I'm pedaling, I'm definitely feeling the trikes bouncing a lot more.
Yep. The other first thing I noticed too, the different position. I don't feel my quad as more. I feel it more in my calf right now. But because my bottom bracket, I'm sitting a little higher, and my bottom bracket is a little lower. Going up, I was on the same gear as we were earlier on the floor. I was spinning more, but I felt like I was pushing the same effort. So I was expecting with a smaller chainring to be easier, but probably, like you said, with these big wheels, they were more to bring up the hill.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how different these trikes feel as far as the gearing goes.
Yep.
You know, they have the same roll off. We are turning different gears, and I think part of that is with the suspension on this, especially climbing. I really did feel like every time I'm pushing, the trike's bouncing a little bit.
Yep.
It's taking a little more of my energy. I think that if we both had proper pedals, that would probably make all the difference.
Another thing we forgot to mention is that with your rear suspension, the Fox, you got a lockout.
Yeah.
So
when I didn't feel like the rear was taking any power, what was interesting was more the front. So every time I'm pushing, I could feel the front kind of going up and down a little bit.
Yep.
You know, I think a lot of that, most of that though, is just not being clipped in.
You were talking about wheel size. On those 26x4, the sidewall tire is so high to be able to handle the all of this like air pressure that the outside circumference is actually at least a 29 inch.
Yeah, I think we measured those right at 29 inches. Before we went and rode, we weighed both of these trikes. And I think we were kind of both surprised at the weight.
Yep.
Tri-Fly X here came in at 64 pounds, you know, which is not a light trike. I felt pretty certain that full fat was gonna come in heavier.
Yep.
But it actually came in at 63 pounds. All right, well,
here's
another downhill run. And I'm excited to be tucked in this time. All right, let's give it. Okay.
Oh yeah.
It feels like a higher gear.
Definitely speeding, there's nothing to push here.
I'm gonna hit so smooth. Those are so smooth. All right. Got our train going today.
Yep.
So
already before the second turn, there was not too much left to push.
Right. Tri-Fly X here, I felt like I had maybe 2 higher gears. And I think part of that is the higher bottom bracket.
Yep.
When you're not clipped in, you know, you only can spin so fast.
Exactly.
And I think I could spin faster in this position than I could on the full fat.
Almost, I think at the exit of the first turn already, with those slick tires inflated at the max, I felt the trike already sliding under me.
Right. Yeah, and like that's what I was saying, like when we were taking the first turn, I had to lean all the way over the wheel.
Yep.
With the Tri-Fly X here, I feel like I'm in a cockpit, which I really like. You know, I'm inside of the trike, where on the full fat, I feel more like I'm on the trike.
Which is normal because the wheels are inflated, and with the volume of air in there, it's almost like a basketball.
Right.
So if it's not smooth, you kind of go like
bouncing. The Tri-Fly for me, the Tri-Fly X here, is probably the smoothest riding trike. I was hitting those bumps hard. It just smoothly glided over them. Pretty incredible. What do you think about the steering on each trike?
The steering is a little heavier on the ice, which makes sense. You got bigger wheel to move, I feel like. I really like the steering on the Azub. I felt like more control when we went downhill the first time in the turns.
I tend to like a heavier steering. You know, I like the stability of the Tyfly X here, but the high speed, like just going fast while I'm pedaling.
Yep.
The full fat, I think, had less pedal steer. The steering locked in and was a little stiffer at higher speeds.
Yep.
Where the Tyfly X, you know, mostly because I was spinning faster than I normally would want to without having clip-in pedals, but the steering felt a little more sensitive.
Yep.
But I was also going faster. Certainly able to go faster on the Tyfly X than I could on the full fat.
Yeah. For me, I wish they could come up with, and any brand really, with something like cars, when you got a really easy steering at low speed, and as you go higher speed, the steering is a little bit stiffer.
I think ice is like that. I noticed that on both the full fat here and then also on their Sprint X Tour. And I think a lot of that is because they're using the same steering geometry.
Yeah.
But then just moving, you know, moving that axle up from the ground, either with a bigger wheel or with the suspension spindle.
Yep.
I think that's what that effect is. Both of those trikes feel like the faster you go, the more they want to go straight.
And on their Adventure and Sprint, they also have this little damper system in their stem under.
Yeah.
And I know that helped a lot with vibration in the handlebar and also speed wobble.
So both of these trikes do have the indirect steering. And I think for these bumpy roads and everything, like the handlebar isolation is terrific.
Yep.
Like I'm not feeling any road vibration in my hands.
Yeah, and like you were saying, even the full fat is really smooth on that road.
Yeah. Gearing wise, like I'm in my highest gear right now. It's surprising on a big, heavy trike like this, how well it maintains the speed.
Yeah.
You know, we're buzzing along. How fast are we going, Garrett? So yeah, we're going about 20. And we're just cooking, you know?
I wouldn't expect that on a trike that big.
No, I mean, you got these big fat tires. And when you get tall tires like this, it doesn't keep a lot of effort to keep them moving. So one thing we haven't mentioned yet is price. The ice full fat there with the roll off as it's configured, we're just over $8,000. You know, that's a good chunk of change there.
Yeah.
The Tyfly X here, though, we're a little over 10,000.
Yep.
So $2,000 more into this machine, and it definitely kind of shows. That suspension is just so smooth.
I mean, the titanium leaf are costly. They're beautifully designed.
Yeah.
You got the rear suspension. And also one thing I love about, let me see if you have it. So not on this one, okay. But their folding mechanism is unbelievable too.
Yeah.
It's not on this one, so that would be a little extra.
So both of these trikes are very configurable. So the full fat always folds.
Yep.
And it's the only folding fat tire trike worth mentioning. The Azub here, you can get this in all sorts of variations. Folding, non-folding. This is the Tyfly X model with the 26-inch wheels all around.
Yep.
Well, guys, we're back at the shop, and this was a bit different ride than some of the ones we've been doing. You know, a lot of the rides that we've been doing, we've been comparing models that in many ways were much more similar than these two. So, you know, one of the reasons that we're comparing these two models today is because it really does come down to the choice between these two models for a lot of people. A lot of people go, you know, I want something kind of over the top. Frankly, nothing is really more over the top than these two trikes.
Yep.
You've got this big, beautiful monster trike that has been to Antarctica and, you know, is a solid choice for touring.
Yeah, that's another world record trike for ice right there.
Fantastic trike. And then you have here, which is arguably one of the best built machines with the most beautiful work of art. I mean, there's so many CNC machined anodized parts and these titanium leaf springs. The Tie-Fly X really is just an absolute beautiful machine. Now, both of these trikes nearly always tend to leave the shop with a motor on it.
Yes.
You know, that's really going to change things. And I wanted to do this test today without motors so, you know, we could actually kind of get a taste of just the bare metal here. They're both great. You know, climbing hills on them, well, definitely not as easy as like that Ice VTX or the Carbon Trike. You know, they have just with that single chainring up front and the roll off in the back, had more than enough gears to climb pretty much any hills.
Yeah.
Enough gearing that you can go as fast as you want comfortably. And they both ride surprisingly well for being a bigger, heavier trike. They take a little bit longer to get going, but once you get going, they go and they're really easy to maintain speeds.
Exactly, especially this one. I was really surprised with those slick tire or well he handled the speed. As soon as we were there, I just kept pedaling and it was just moving.
Yeah, I think I was more surprised at the full fat.
Yep.
You know,
yeah, it's not what you're expecting
full fat,
on the road.
just being able to go on the road and just maintain speed, and we're cooking.
Yep.
You know, and we're buzzing along.
Yep.
And it just was easy to pedal, despite, you know, being a 63-pound trike. It doesn't. It feels a lot lighter than that.
Yes, you don't really feel a 63
Yeah.
pound, to be honest.
Suspension wise, I can tell you, I really didn't feel like I got a lot out of that rear suspension. At least it wasn't noticeable.
Yeah.
You know, hitting the bumps, you feel them more on the front wheels.
Yep.
And I think that's where the Tie-Fly X kills the competition. You know, I think we're going to want to compare this specifically with some more full suspension trikes. But so far, I would say, you know, hitting those really fast, hard bumps, this Tie-Fly X just took those bumps without any worries at all.
I mean, I know a lot of customers on both of those trikes, especially the Azub who go off-road.
Yeah.
And I know they really enjoy it. This one, people go off-road, but they don't really mountain bike like they will do with the Azub.
Yeah.
They do more like snow riding, because that's another thing amazing with this one is that's really your all year round commuter.
Well, and look at that ground clearance.
Yeah.
You've got an insane amount of ground clearance there.
Exactly.
You know, and there's really nothing underneath there, especially with the
That
roll-off.
can really grab, yep.
So you can really go off-road on that. You know, it's going to be that slow speed off-road. You know, where the Tie-Fly X also is very popular for off-road riding.
Yes.
You know, neither one of these are trikes that, you know, you're going to want to jump or, you know, I mean, you want to treat it like it's a $8,000 or $10,000 machine,
exactly.
right? Yeah. So.
And I mean, I will never think about jumping a trike.
Yeah.
That's not really. I mean, I know like there's stuff out there, but those, yeah, like you said, the price. Another thing I really want to mention, because I think it's really rare those days, and for the price, I think that's amazing, is that this is a British trike. This is from Czech Republic.
Yeah.
But other than the component to come from Asia, those trike are built in those countries. And I'm really amazed coming from Europe for Czech Republic, because that's a country that used to be in a lot of trouble and they came out on the top, and now they're building some of the best trike on the market.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I think that's a
definitely.
big kudo. They designed them, build them over there in this teeny town. I know that's type of thing that's important for me. If I spend $10,000, to know that I'm also supporting, like, you know,
well, we know,
town.
you know, we know the guys from both of these companies, and they're great. I mean,
they're awesome.
You're gonna get fantastic support with either one of these trikes. Both of these trikes are great. I would be hard pressed to choose, honestly.
Yeah.
Because the full fat, it is fun. You're
Yes.
sitting up high, it goes fast, and everyone sees it. As we were riding there, people were in their cars and they're waving, and they weren't waving at the tie fly. They were waving at the big
The
fat
full fat
monster truck tires, So, where I think this guy here, this tie fly X, this is just, it's an amazing race car machine. Anybody that's into, engineering components and that kind of thing is going to look at this machine. I mean, you could just put this in your garage and get a chair and just sit there and look at it for days.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
So, well, guys, I hope that you got something out of this video and you got to at least get a little bit of taste of what these two trikes are like. This is not our regular this versus that, where I think one trike's going to come out on head. These are both, fantastic trikes, and they're kind of for different riders and different needs. And really the only answer there, is to get one of each. So we encourage that. So in the meantime, guys, we encourage you to
Relax, spin fast, and ride trikes.
Have a nice day, guys.
Bye.
Let's get this party started.
When I visited Alaska, I wish I had a full fat.
Yeah. Now we do sometimes put the fat tires on the tie fly.
Yes.
Yeah, you wouldn't get stuck in the snow, right?
Yeah.